Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jerry Pitney. In this episode, we're going to go over maximum effort, what maximum effort really is. We're also going to go over shit that happens at the gym. But first, we're going to go over my online store is finally up and running after all this time. You can go on there, you can purchase a Shut Up and Work shirt or What the Freak shirt or an American flag shirt. For the longest time, it was not operating and doing right. So someone from up north bought a water bottle, and so I got this charge, and I was like, or I got this credit to my account. I was like, where did this come from? I got online. Oh, someone ordered a water bottle. Well, this was on like a Sunday night. Next day, Monday, I got up and mailed it out because I need to try to get this stuff. If someone's going to order online, I'm going to try to do my best to get it mailed out the next day. Now, if the shirts pick up a lot, it may be a day or two before I get them ordered in, before I get them shipped back out. But I do have some stocks in at the gym. So you get your black Explosive Mechanic shirt, you get your blue Explosive Mechanic shirt, you get your gray American flag logoed shirt. So as that builds up, we'll start adding more things. The book Super Training is on there for purchase, and I do have some more water bottles. Over time, as it goes on, I'll try to add more and more products. So just want to plug that in there for the online store if you would like support the gym or the podcast. I've got 3 shirts going out to Australia this week. So thank you for that. Thanks for all the people that listen. And if you would, you can go online, purchase a shirt, purchase a book, purchase something. I'm also going to start uploading articles. Trying to rearrange the website, trying to put the podcast episodes up on the explosivemechanics.com website to where it's easy for people if they want to go watch the YouTube version. I know a lot more people, they check YouTube before they check Spotify or before they check iTunes or Podbean or whatever they're listening to it on. So anyway, check out the online store. I'll be happy and open to feedback. So let's get on with this maximum effort and what maximum effort really is. I know Louis and Westside Barbell has really popularized the term maximum effort, dynamic effort, repeated effort. All that is different levels of muscular tension. And what Louis has done at Westside is he has perfected the maximum effort method, the dynamic effort method, and the repeated effort method. The repeated effort method, if you've heard maybe episode 35, 34, around there, how we got screwed up in the first place is I go into detail about how those different methods work. But maximum effort. Maximum effort is, I'm going to read it straight out of Science and Practice of Strength Training. Maximum effort. The maximum effort method is considered superior for improving both intramuscular and intermuscular coordination. This method should be used to bring forth the greatest strength increments. The maximum number of motor units are activated with optimal discharge frequency, and the biomechanical parameters of movement and intramuscular coordination are similar to the values in a main sport exercise. And so the other day I was hearing people talk about maximum effort, like what maximum effort is to them or this or that. And, you know, like I think someone said the other day is like, Louis sometimes don't even use the maximum effort method for the fighters. Probably not maxing out all the time, but as y'all heard me read before, brief maximum tension. So we're still in the Science and Practice of Strength Training. It says for maximum effort, the recommended number of repetitions per set is 1 to 3. And get this, and if you look up here, the number of repetitions for squatting, on the other hand, usually falls in the range of 2 to 6. This is straight out of Science and Practice of Strength Training for the maximum effort method. Now, if I bring out the Russian translated text for this, it is called Managing the Training of Weightlifters. Practical experience shows that training with 90 to 100% of maximum results in the highest increases in strength. This is the maximum effort method. The maximum effort method increases strength without significantly increasing muscular mass. This is very important for weightlifting, where an athlete is required to keep his body weight within certain weight limits. So like if you're training wrestlers, or if you're training these different sport athletes, you can stimulate the optimal motor units in order to increase strength. Strength It's not always about muscle. That's what I was going to try to get into with the maximum effort method is you're lifting at a lower number range of reps. Well, you're lifting so that all the fibers have to fire at optimal discharge frequency. So like with the repeated effort method, they may fire in a sequential order, like the smaller ones, the mediums, and then the larger fast twitch fibers will fatigue. So once the smaller ones fatigue, the mediums fatigue, then now you're fatiguing the fast twitch fibers later on down the road. So if you're doing sets of 12. Well, the bad part about fatiguing with the repetition method is if you're going for sport performance is that the fast twitch fibers don't get activated until you're in a fatigue state. And that's the thing about the maximum effort method. All fibers have to fire at once at optimal discharge frequency. With intermuscular, so within the muscle itself, and intramuscular, all the other motor units and muscles around that coordinating at the same time. So like if I squeeze my bicep and I just focus on my bicep, well, if I squeeze harder, I'll start feeling it in my shoulder. Harder, you're gonna feel it in your forearm, your shoulder, and so forth and so on. And so a lot of people get confused. I think years ago, as Louis perfected a lot of this stuff, maximum effort or max is one. But when they first started doing the maximum effort method, they were not doing that. But remember, they are advanced athletes. They are the 18-year-olds in the strength game. If you are only been lifting for 1 to 3 years, you're still a toddler. So don't get over concerned with maxing out one repetition over and over, week after week. And the conjugate system is you're bringing maximum strength. You're increasing your relative strength, especially for athletes. The repeated effort method helps us hold the dynamic effort to the maximum effort. So as you are able to produce more and more force using the maximum effort method, and with the dynamic effort method, if you're sharpening how fast you are using that newly gained force, your repeat effort method for the fiber size actually has to increase. So your muscles will not fire if you didn't have the nervous system. So a lot of this training is manipulating the nervous system to produce a desired result. And it's not about the exercises, it's about the methods behind the exercises that help further produce greater results. So if we bring out one of my favorite books, Super Training, Dynamic Work with Heavy Weights, Explosive Mechanics, where we're squatting into 0.6s and sometimes into 0.5s, we're doing dynamic because we are monitoring our speed, so we're giving maximum effort with dynamic effort stuff. So dynamic work with heavy weights also elicits a positive after effect in the central nervous system, which also shows an improvement in speed and strength. And so what I've heard people the other day is, well, running's maximum effort, well, throwing's maximum effort, and all this other stuff is maximum effort. It's not technically maximum effort. It should be done maximum effort levels. The difference between maximum effort throwing, maximum effort lifting, we'll go over in a minute, but with the brief maximal tension method within the super training, you can tie the Managing the Training of Weightlifters, a Russian translated text that says weights should be lifted 1 to 2 times per set. Brief maximum tension method, 85 to 95%, i.e. 3 to 5 rep maximums. So usually you start off right there at the minimum of 85%. And if you listen to another podcast, I spoke about how I start off at 85%, then I wave and try to figure out where the athlete is. And someone asked me the other day, Jared, how often do I max my athletes? Well, I max my athletes when I cannot figure out where they are or why the numbers I'm writing for them are not working. So I'll max them. Okay, maybe we're a little bit too high here, a little bit too high there. So brief maximum tension method is given priority in training, which is a sub-method of the maximum effort method. And the brief maximum tension method also elicits the same neuromuscular response as the maximum effort method. And if the maximum effort method in here says 1 to 3, maximum effort here says 1 to 2. Well, the brief maximum tension method, 3 to 5. So we're all within the same ballpark. Now, if you're talking about whether you need to use the maximum effort method, well, how experienced is the athlete? Is the athlete a toddler in the gym? Is the athlete a teenager in the gym, or they're like their teens? You know, it's kind of trying to take all this knowledge and all this stuff that's confusing and try to figure out which direction to go with it. So, according to, I can't even pronounce this guy's name, between 1 and 6 reps, and increasing this number hinders strength development. So once you get over 6, then you can hinder strength development if that's your primary focus. But the repeated effort method, you're trying to increase the size of the fiber itself. With the maximum effort, brief maximal tension method, what you're doing is you're increasing neural drive. So if you heard me before, picture like your hand. So you put your hand on the table, and so you have your thumb and your pinky finger touching. So the table represents your muscle fiber. And so, or you can put it on a sheet of paper if you want to scrunch up the sheet of paper to have a much more of a visual of what the muscle fiber looks like under an electron microscope. Put your thumb and your pinky on the sheet of paper. Squeeze. Now I'm going to maybe have 1 or 2 wrinkles. Well, put your middle finger, your index finger, and squeeze. You're going to have a little bit more wrinkles. What that is representing is the more of your fingers, which are, i.e. the neurons, that you can get to adhere to that one fiber, the harder and faster that fiber will contract. So by manipulating the nervous system and using the brief maximum effort or whatever else you want to try to call it, it's still maximum effort because it permits a limited low number of reps instead of where the repeated effort method gets above the 6, where you're trying to increase the size of that fiber. And so what I was trying to say earlier is that if I squeeze that fiber too hard, if I get too much neural drive to it, we could experience strains or whatnot, breaks or injuries, if you'd like to say. So what I have to do is I have to use repeated effort method to make that sheet of paper a little bit thicker, or to make that now muscle fiber a little thicker, so that when I squeeze it, it don't break or have any strains or hiccups along the way. And with that, we get back into the dynamic effort method. Dynamic effort method is lifting or throwing or jumping, you know. So hopefully I'm trying to cover this the best I can with the maximum effort, the repeated effort, and the dynamic effort. And I heard some people the other day talking, and they were talking about, well, running's maximum effort. No, you should give you maximum effort while you're running. When you hear people talk about maximum effort as maximum muscular tension at the highest level, when you hear people talking about repeated effort method, you should just think about high school weight training where they just over-rep the kids. And with a dynamic effort method, you should picture throwing. But like these kids doing long toss, if they're just throwing at 80 yards when they're capable of throwing 90 or 95, they are doing dynamic effort method, but not at maximum level. So just because running is sprinting or whatever, or throwing is throwing, and when we're jumping, for example, at the gym with our dumbbells, we're just not hopping off the ground with the dumbbells. We are trying to break our dumbbell jump record every time we come into that gym. We're trying to give it maximum effort with the dynamic effort activity. That's jumping, that's explosive. So your maximum effort, just because you're running, is still deemed a dynamic exercise because of the rate of muscular contraction at that time. And so with the dynamic effort method, if you give the maximum effort or maximum intensity, you could say, behind the exercise, whether you're throwing a baseball, you're working on a heavy ball routine, or whether you're working on your dumbbell jumps, whether you're working on your plyo push-ups, it should be done. That's why these box jumps and stuff in the past have not worked, because they're doing repeated effort method with a dynamic effort exercise. So they're often on boxes. Okay, dynamic activity used with repetition method. Not going to get very good response out of it. That's why these people with box jumps don't ever have very high verticals. And so the big thing is you got to learn, If I'm going to go jump and I do repeated jumps, okay, I'm doing a dynamic effort exercise, but I'm using the repeat effort method with it. And so if you want to go back to a true maximum effort, so if you're doing sprint training, well, I think Pelton's chart says up to 4 once you get the maximum load. You want to do 4 sprints, whatever. But each sprint, if you're trying to elicit and change the dynamic correspondence of that exercise, has to be done with maximum intensity. Don't call that maximum effort. You should give it maximum effort, but you should be thinking about it as maximum intensity per that exercise. I'm maximizing my intensity when I'm trying to freaking turn a song or create an atmosphere in order to break my dumbbell jump record. I care about jumping. Jumping's correlated with running. And so the athletes that focus and increase their strength using the brief maximum tension method, we are doing explosive box squatting where we're trying to hit certain number at a certain, like, so if we're trying to move 315, maybe about 1.6 times our body weight at 0.6 meters per second, we're monitoring. If we're hitting 1.6 times our body weight, we should be running about a 4.8 40-yard dash complete laser. Now, my 40-yard dash times are off from a lot of other people. I think Michael Fahey and Brandon Bird justified or clarified that with the laser systems that we have, mine's a lot more sensitive on the start. We're getting the same 20 to 30, 30 to 40 times, but we're getting different 10-yard times. They're getting faster 10-yard times because their system is not as sensitive to the hand start as mine is. But the thing is, we're always measuring, we're trying to improve and we're trying to break something. So when I'm correlating and trying to do 1.6 meters, 1.6 times your body weight at 0.6 meters, I'm trying to make sure that that's going to equal 4.840. I did not bring the stupid book up here. It may be in Super Training. I may not have time to find it. But it said, whatever book it's in, it said if you have 2 sprinters and they both squat 2.2 times their body weight, but one runs a 10.6 in the 100 and another runs a 10.2. That means increasing that person's strength is no longer the priority of his training. May need to be doing more plyometric stuff. Plyometrics and the reactive methods are the same thing when it comes to speed strength. So if you look at more like speed strength activities and use them in a dynamic effort type of way, where you're monitoring loading and trying to break certain records, that dynamic exercise that you're doing should correspond to what you're trying to create. So hopefully I'm trying to clarify. The biggest thing is a dynamic effort should be done with maximum intensity, maximum effort stuff, but it's not maximum effort activity because of the muscular tension levels. Okay, so it's all fast twitch. You're not with the dynamic effort method. You're not. Here's what it says in the Science of Practice Strength Training: lifting or throwing a non-maximum load with the heaviest attainable speed, or the highest attainable speed. So in order to attain a high speed, you have to have high effort levels, high intensity. So that's the dynamic effort method. The maximum effort method is lifting a maximum load, exercise against maximum resistance, lifting a non-maximum load to failure during the final reps of the muscle's development. Maximum force is possible only in a fatigue state. So I tried to cover that earlier when I was talking about that other stuff. So if you have any questions about this dynamic effort and rate of force development exercise stuff, send me an email, message me on Instagram at Explosive Mechanics, and I'll try it. If you message me at the Jared Binney account, I pretty much don't see that hardly at all. So hopefully I did a good job with that, but for some reason I have a note here in this Science of Practice and Strength Training: individuals train but do not optimize force production with their loading routines. So a lot of times when these kids or whatever are going in and doing exercise, they're not paying attention to the dynamic effort method or the repeat effort method or the maximum effort. They're just doing exercises and going through routines. Like if you come to Explosive Mechanics and if you go on Instagram and you watch us, we have groups of guys or girls sometimes surrounding each other, encouraging, let's get this, let's roll, come on, you got it, let's go, punch it. We're trying to create a optimal atmosphere for the optimal level of intensity. And I've gone over there with people, they're squatting in the mid fives with their squat. I'll go there and stand next to them just to check it. All of a sudden they're getting mid sixes, almost a seven. People are energy to me. So like if I was doing my dumbbell jumps, the more people, you think of it as like a football stadium. If you go to a high school stadium and you're on the field, the atmosphere, the level of intensity that you're experiencing on that field is not as cool as it would be if you were at like an Ohio State, Michigan game, or a Clemson and a South Carolina game. You know, it's just different. The more people bring you more energy. And if they're negative, get them the hell out of the way. So hopefully I covered that. I know I've said that several times, but so now we're going to go over crap that I just experienced, these little notes and stuff that I jot down at the gym. I saw a kid who was over there doing Nordics every day. Well, the problem with that is his hamstring tendons were getting inflamed because the level of intensity of that exercise is too high stress for him. Now, if he could do 100 Nordics, it'd be like walking. Sometimes when you're listening to this GPP stuff or whatever else, wherever you hear SPP, mainly thing is GPP. Walk the muscle, don't torch the muscle. So like when you're doing, I think Louis used to talk about years ago, and this is in the Science of Sports Training by Thomas Kurtz. Louis used to do 200 leg curls per day. That's walking. It takes about 5 minutes. You can backward sled drags up for a half mile. You're walking the muscle. You're not creating extremely fast movements. You're not creating extremely intense movements. You're creating more of a lactate. So when you build up lactate, lactic acid is not the soreness of the muscle the next day. For those of you who don't know that, it's not. Lactic acid is a byproduct of carbohydrate metabolism. So as you're working, exercising the muscle, if you're working the muscle faster than it's getting oxygen, it's got to slow down. So lactate's going to build up, retard or slow the muscle contraction down so that oxygen can get back to the working muscle. And if you take blood lactate levels right after exercise, they're going to be extremely high. In 30 minutes, they start dropping. And I think about an hour and a half, they're almost back down to baseline levels. The soreness in the muscle next day is due to trauma. And so the better you get at the exercise, the less trauma you do. So sometimes the more you have to do. But sometimes like walking a half mile backwards with a sled drag may be super intense at first. If you're doing 200 leg curls, maybe super intense at first, but it needs to be extremely low light loads. 10% maybe of your max, or something that's extremely light that you can repeat. Ultra high reps. Ultra high reps also help to strengthen ligaments and tendons. And so like if you're doing banded press downs for sets of 100. So GPP is something working up to where you're increasing your base level of conditioning so that you can recover from the higher intense dynamic effort and maximum effort exercises. So I saw this kid, so doing Nordics every day for that kid, not a good thing. The exercise intensity is too high. So I told him, just go over there and do 50 leg curls at 20 pounds. I said, you got to learn how to walk the muscle, not kill it every day. So the biggest thing, I got a lot of kids. Sometimes they don't get it, and I'm trying to figure out, if I can figure out how to get kids to get what I'm trying to tell them, I'll be a genius. But until then, I'm just an average person. Sometimes a lot of the kids at the gym, they're trying to do an exercise, but they're trying to do it the easiest possible way. Me, not so. I told the kid, you should do the most weight you can in the hardest possible way. Because if you do the most weight you can in the hardest possible way, there's never, because you know easier ways to get it. So if you were doing slower eccentrics down for when you, the faster you drop the bar, the easier it is to bench. So like if you're benching and you come down a little quicker and you push back up, that bench is gonna be a little easier. The faster muscle stretches, the harder it contracts. Plyometrics are right, and all these people doing these eccentric actions. If eccentrics right, plyometrics are wrong. Okay, for especially for creating a specific type of muscular strength. When your foot hits the ground, the more you train it, and the more elastic you can make it, boom, to fire back. Think about this: when you're doing eccentrics, you're creating maximum muscular tension all the way down, and you're extremely slow, but you're trying to breathe. So once the muscle's stressed and you're trying to breathe at the same time, you're kind of confusing the muscle because as it being stretched, you're trying to open it up. Well, as it's going down, usually when you're trying to stretch, you're trying to relax. So it's kind of like you're confusing the muscle on what to do. So eccentrics also create more muscle soreness. And I was telling someone the other day, I'll give you a dumbbell. Take it in your right hand. You curl it up. I take it out. And you lower your arm. You curl it up again. I take it out. You lower your arm. You curl it up. We'll do that 10 times on your right. We'll do 3 sets. On your left arm, you just lower the weight 3 sets of 10. You wake up the next day, man, I didn't do anything with my right arm, but damn, my left arm sure is killing me. Be a good experiment for some of you to try if you never even tried it. So I told the kid, you need to lift the most weight in the hardest possible manner so that no matter what, if you're in a powerlifting competition or if you're in any type of situation, you'll always be able to do that weight because you've lifted that in the hardest possible way you could probably do it. And a lot of times at the gym, the hardest thing is freaking warming up. The weak athletes don't appreciate the strong ones. They like to be where they are, but sometimes most of them in there, they see a checklist. They're trying to boom, 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 get this done, get this done, get this done. I'm out of here. So people don't want to wait. They don't understand it. So like if I got to warm up to 400 pounds to bench, and I got little Bobby over here next to me, he's like, I gotta go up to 65 pounds. What's he gonna do? The bar 2 sets, maybe 3 sets, maybe the bar 2 sets and 55 sets, and he's ready for 65? No, I'm gonna do 135, 225, 275, 315, 365, maybe 385. But then I've got to rest longer between my warm-ups. I just can't go over there, boom, 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 knock it out. So sometimes I do have a mixture of kids in there that are in there. They're in there. A lot of people are selfish. Hey, go help that kid. Hey, encourage that kid. Hey, go get behind him. Say, hey, let's go. No, I don't want to do that. Why not? Well, I got to get this done. You only care about yourself. If you only care about yourself, you're going to limit your results greatly. Training partners will change your life, especially if you can get them to motivate you. I'm doing 90 pounds of press downs. Jared, bitch, why aren't you doing... Fuck you. Let's do 110. So sometimes everybody has to be motivated. Sometimes we, as trainers, sometimes don't want to do that stuff ourselves. So they need to understand that it takes time to warm up. I usually give my athletes about 10 minutes to warm up, especially if they got a heavy 5-6-5 at 500 on squat. It's going to take them a little time. It's going to take them a little time to even get motivated to even want to freaking do that. It's not always fun. And a lot of things with little kids is they don't have the patience to let strength show. Hey, can I come in max out? Hey, can I come in max out? You just maxed out at 70 pounds. You're not going to go from 70 to 80 in one workout. So a lot of the times little kids just want to come in and do this. They want to come in and do that. They want to do all the cool crap they see on Instagram, which is freaking poisoning their brains to start with. And so, give it patience. You got to put the work in. You know, you don't go work on Monday and get paid on Tuesday. Sometimes these people don't get paid until the end of the month. They may go to work on the 1st, they ain't gonna get paid until the 30th. You're not gonna go in the gym today and come back tomorrow stronger. You ever heard of that super compensation? You may come in the gym, but you may actually get weaker before you get stronger again too. So give it time, let the strength show. It takes time to do stuff. And I was talking about this, if powerlifters would freaking just jump. I think one of the guys in the gym realized that as he's learned how to jump, his squat actually got better because Jumping is the dynamic effort exercise. Dynamic effort will help your maximum effort. Maximum effort will help your dynamic effort method. And the repeat effort method will hold the two together. And so if powerlifters would just come in there and jump, like some of the girls are the worst because they don't like jumping in front of people because girls care about people's feelings. And the first thing I'm gonna tell you is I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your results. This kid the other day said, Jared, my back hurts. I said, I don't care. I said, freaking figure out how to squat. And Jared, I don't care. Figure it out. Can you do it? Just because something hurts don't mean you can't do it. Now, if you're injured, you can't physically freaking do it. But just because something hurts don't mean you can't do it. And so, natural instinct, like they told you years ago, you got to scratch, hey, rub some dirt on that. Let's go. You know, suck it up, buttercup. What the freak are you thinking? Look, I don't care. This kid told me, Jared, my knees hurt. I said, I don't care. I said, you need to go squat. They look at me like, I'm not your freaking parent. Oh, it's okay, little Johnny. It's okay. No, it's freaking not. Little Johnny's ass needs to be a little bit tougher. Guess what, kid? Go there, squat. How's your knees? Oh, they don't hurt anymore. Geez, a lot of times if you're training these athletes, they're trying to tell you shit to where they don't have to do it. And so I had that written on the notes somewhere. I just lost the exact train of thought where I was at because I was trying to find what I was talking about. So anyway, and get this, sometimes you don't have to do the skill to get better at it. Sometimes we can be in the gym jumping, or sometimes we could be in the gym squatting and our jump gets better, just as a residual effect from getting stronger. I've had softball girls increase 8 to 13 miles an hour without throwing a damn softball. If I strengthen the right muscles, their speed gets faster. We don't run at the gym hardly at all. But yeah, we're getting half a second faster. I've had a kid go from a 5 flat to a 4.5. Several of them. I've had kids go from a 5.4 to a 4.5. I've had kids go from a 6.4 to a 4.6. Flip the numbers around with almost zero running. And so sometimes you don't have to do the skill of running. You don't have to do the skill of throwing. You don't have to do the skill of jumping. You don't have to do these specific skills to get better at them. Now, to be the best, you need to still sharpen your skill with that extra activity. Like if you want that 40-inch vertical, if you want to get on that vertical jump plaque at the gym, just going over there squatting, your vertical may go up, but it's going to go up at a turtle speed rate. So we go to squat, then we go sharpen our skill. You can go bench, then you can go sharpen your throwing skill. Like a lot of the lacrosse girls I trained, a lot of their throwing speeds got dramatically better just by increasing their bench. No throwing of lacrosse ball at all. They don't even practice. This is dead season for them to where they don't really play any games or do anything. I think some of them went up 4 miles an hour in 1 month. I'm averaging about 2 miles an hour off them per month anyway. So sometimes you don't have to do the skill to get better at it. But if you want to be the best, you need to couple your strength with your skill. So a lot of people say like conjugate training this and conjugate training that. Conjugate training is coupling the maximum effort, brief maximum tension method, the repeat effort method, and dynamic effort method to raise your skill and your absolute strength level at the same time. Like for Westside, squatting is a skill, so they're using the dynamic effort method to sharpen their skill squatting. We're athletes, we're using the dynamic effort method to sharpen our skill of jumping, because jumping and running are correlated. If I'm increasing their jumps, I'm going to increase their running speed without necessarily even have to run. Now, for the some that do need to get the maximum, I don't even know if the kid ran from a 5 flat to a 4.5, even if he even ran the trans sled. And running and sprinting and testing the 40 once a month may be just enough stimulus on that skill that they need in order to keep it going. So, and sometimes I've noticed that sometimes when the athletes don't test, that they may put all this work in, but they don't test month after month after month, so they don't run at all, have not ran in 2 or 3 months. Then they're not improving at the rate. And I have noticed athletes that do test it at the end of each month, they get faster. And that running, what they're doing at the end of each month, may be just enough stimulus what they need. And a lot of people are just looking for freaking workouts. Hey, Jared, what about this? Hey, let's go full press. Hey, Jared, let's do this. No, you have to stay with almost the same exercise. I can't go from bench one day to incline the next, to this, the next, this, whatever. I'm not skilled. Well, I am now at my level. I need to be doing that, but I don't because I'm still thinking like the kids because I got to keep up with them. I got to keep doing stuff for them, but now I keep getting these breaks and stuff. But hey, Jared, let's do wall sits. No, what? Hey, Jared, let's do this. No, what the hell did you say that? Instagram, YouTube, and sometimes these kids. Like I had a kid at the gym. If you listen to this podcast, you know I'm pretty famous for all these jump improvement results. He was looking up on damn YouTube how to jump. I said, who the heck? I said, why don't you just come over here and ask me? Because a lot of those people on YouTube trying to teach you how to jump don't know anything. And get this, just because, well, if you ask some of my people at the gym that have 40-inch verticals, they were not naturally. Some of them, a lot of them started in the mid-20s. Some of them even started in the teens. So you get someone that starts in the mid-20s, or you test this athlete that already automatically comes to the gym, jumps a 40-inch vertical, like, he has learned nothing. That's his natural God-given ability is to jump and to be that explosive. He has been blessed with a high rate of force development. So for him to go train someone to jump a 40-inch vertical, he's just going to pull every exercise out the book that he can think of that he's seen before, that he's heard, or someone talk about this. He has no proven results of that actual exercise improving the result because he was already given that ability. The only thing you're going to know and when you're going to start learning is when you start training. When you start training folks and you measure month for month, you learn very quick what does and what does not work. And so if it does not work, you may not use it. But if you don't test, you don't know it's not working. Once you start testing and you realize it's not working, number one, you're either going to quit testing because you don't want to be exposed, or number two, you're going to start figuring out shit real quick. So, what about this one? Hey, Jared, do you think deadlift will get my nervous system ready to squat? Do you think deadlift will warm up my knees? Deadlifting is not going to warm up your knees for squatting. If you want to squat and warm up your knees for squatting, start freaking squatting. If you want to warm up your shoulders and stuff for benching, start freaking benching. All these people with this CrossFit bullcrap go off too much. This mobility for this mobility for that. Hey, let's go do this. Let's go do that. I'll spend 15 minutes doing some damn shoulder roll crap that I ain't never seen before in my life to warm up for bench. Grab a freaking bar and warm up for bench. Hey, what about the cat in the jungle? Hey, the cat, you think the tiger's going to grab the foam roller, start rolling out before he gets up and sprints and cuts down the prey? Geez. So, in other words, do you think deadlift will get in there? No, you know what the person's trying to freaking do? They're trying to get out of squat. They want to go deadlift and not squat. Hey, do you think deadlift will warm my knees? Trying to throw all these little curveballs my way, no, we're going to go squat. You need to hurry the hell up. And so, the thought process of people trying, that's why you need these training partners, because sometimes the crap at the gym is not very easy. It's not very fun. And for the people that have been there for the longest, they know when I say this, it's going to be, damn, it's going to be a rough day. And when we're doing 5 sets of 5, it's not 135, 185, 225, maybe work up to 245 and your last set at 260 for a set of 5. No. If you're just going to work to 260, hopefully a max set of 5, you're probably going to do 5 sets of 5 at 260. And how you get your reps and all that 5 sets of 5 will determine what I give you the next time. And like I said earlier, people are just looking for workouts. People are looking for what's hard. I had a girl come in the gym. Hey, you got these parents. Hey, my kid works hard. Well, they're going to do everything you ask. They're going to work. They're going to work. They're going to work. Yeah, right. What you'll see is they will do a lot of what I call exercising, which is more conditioning, cardio based. They'll do a lot of that crap. But when the shoe hits the freaking pavement of having to really try to get strength gains, they're not around very long because strength gains sometimes are not the funnest thing to do. It's so much easier to go run around a cone. It's so much easier to go, hey, let's hop over these cones. Let's do this. Let's do this exercise. Hey, all the other gyms around me don't push the kids like I do. They're wanting to put some fancy bands around their waist. They want to do these hurdles. They want to run through these freaking ladders. They want to do something that pleases the kid to make the kid happy. Well, guess what? I make the kids happy when they see they're actually getting better. But until that time, we're going to work. Going to work's not always fun. But when you get paid, you like spending that paycheck. When you get paid for the work you put in, you're going to go show off results. You're going to go talk crap to your buddies because guess what? Your buddies ain't getting what you're getting. But they're not working like you either. So I had a girl come in. Oh, she works hard. She works hard. Okay. Squat. Oh man, miserable. You could tell the look on her face. Did not like it. Did not want to do it. Time after time. So next time she comes in, this little test. I gave her sled drags. 90. I think the girl maybe weighed 100 pounds. So I put 90 pounds on the sled and had to drag it 30 yards down and 30 yards back. And oh, my legs. Oh, that burns so bad. I like it. Then I knew that's all she cared about was how the exercise made her feel. And these feelings, like I tell you, you letting your feelings get in the damn way, you ain't never going to get any results. You ain't never going to be the softball player. You ain't never going to be the football player. You're not never going to be the basketball player. You're not never going to be the player that you want to if you let your feelings get in the way. Hey, look, I can show this person, hey, I got this result, this result, this result. Hey, look, if you do this, you'll get this. Hey, let me see these folders. All these people got these folders, got all these results and results and results and results over here. But what are you going to do for my kid? No. What's your kid going to do for me? What kind of results are they going to give me? You know, I'm not here to make them happy. I'm here to make them better. And so I do tell that to parents. I'm not the greatest customer service guy. Look, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to tell you what it's going to take to get from here to here. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. If you want results, you'll come here. If you want fancy exercises and your kids sweat and makes them look like they're working, that's all good. It's just not the right place for you. You know, if you want your kid to go out there and sweat, boom, boom, boom. Man, Jared, they look exhausted. Jared, they pushed the prowler, man. That prowler kicked their butt. Yeah, but when I test them at the end of the month and they're not getting fast because they did too much of the other crap work, then you're like, why are they not getting faster? Because you didn't freaking listen. That's why. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. Check out the online store. Follow me on Instagram at Explosive Mechanics. Email me at info@explosivemechanics.com if you have questions. Let me know what you think of the online store. If you have questions about what maximum effort really is, please let me know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.